All right, y'all. Welcome back to Dead Spot Podcast. We're here with another episode. Hoop season right around the corner. I know we're still in the middle of football season. I got some more episodes coming out this week, but this is a hoop episode. We getting into it here with my predictions. I got my West seeding, got my East seeding, all my awards, my predictions for first, second, and third team. As we go through the week, I'm gonna have guys come on, tell me where they think I went wrong, give me their predictions, stuff like that. I can't wait for hoop season. We back. But let's jump right into it. We going with the West seed first, going 15-1. I think when you look at it, the 15 seed this year will be the Spurs. I think when you look at the roster, it's the worst starting five in the league. I don't think they have anything you can really look forward to. Trey Jones, uh, Kelvin Johnson is solid, but not really too much to go off of. They're pretty much in tank mode. They're going for the big man. I was wondering why they traded DeJounte for no reason, but it makes sense. They're going for the big man. They all in on the tank. Then you look up 14 seed, we have the Jazz. The Jazz aren't much better than the Spurs, in my opinion. When you got Colin Sexton, you know what I'm saying, Mike Conley, who's a vet, know what to do, Lauri Markkanen. There's a little bit more to work with there. So I think they find a way to get a few more games, even though I don't think none of these teams at the bottom really want to win that bad, or at least the organization don't. But I do think the Jazz find a way to get a few more than the Spurs. Moving right along, I did have the Rockets at 13, but the more I thought about it, I switched it and put OKC at 13. I mean, when you look at it, Shea already gonna be out early in the season. I feel like if any team is willing to tank and do all they can to try to get up there, is OKC and Sam Presti. So if Shea not 100% this year in games, if Giddey not 100%, they already lost Chet. I do think they're gonna be sitting guys and trying to manage their best way to get a shot at 7-4 Frenchman. So I don't think they're gonna win as many games, but I do think they just have a better overall roster than the Jazz and the Spurs. So it's only so far they can't fall. Moving in at 12, we have the Rockets. The Rockets got a lot of young pieces. I like Jalen Green. I mean, obviously, a lot of people thought I didn't like him last year because I was saying he wasn't going to be better than Cade, which I still believe that. But I do think he's a solid player. The fit with him and Kevin Porter is still a little funky just because Kevin Porter not a true PG, but they're young, they're athletic, they could get buckets. You got Jabari. I think he's gonna be a solid piece with him. The young first round, I think he went 19 to Houston last year, the big man. We're gonna see how he continue to move along, but I do think they got enough young talent that's gonna compete every night to where they can get more wins than those first three teams. Going up, we have the Kings. I was really trying to find a way to get the Kings into at least the play-in. They've been bad for so long. They really deserve it, but it's no way I could do it based off who I got in front of them. But when you look at it, I feel like getting Kevin Huerter was a good thing. Harrison Barnes has been solid. Sabonis, when he came in last year, was solid. Keegan Murray is looking like a great scorer in both summer league, preseason, wherever you at. It looks like he just get buckets. And De'Aaron Fox, for me, is one of the most slept on players in the league. I feel like he's a really solid player. I feel like what he what he brings to the table is definitely needed. I mean, he's solid bucket getter. He's a solid facilitator. I think they have a not too bad starting five. But when you look at past the starting five, it's not much depth there. So I don't. I mean, Davion Mitchell is a good player off the bench. Malik Monk solid, but they don't have enough. I feel like to overcome the star power that these next team have and squeeze it out. It will be close, but I think the 10th seed go to the Lakers. I think when you look at it, I do not like the starting five though. I mean, you got Russ and Pat Bev. I don't really know how that's going to work. LeBron, AD, and they said AD don't want to play the five. If you play the five, they probably start the Austin Reeves. If they don't start him, it's either going to be one of the two bigs, Thomas Bryant or Damian Jones. If they go one of the bigs and AD playing the four, that's a horrible lineup. It's not that much shooting. LeBron will be your best shooter. Pat Bev, I think he shot like 38% last year, but I don't think you want to be counting on Pat Bev to be your best or second best shooter on your starting five. Russ, we'll see what he comes back with this year. AD, if he can stay healthy, this prediction is based off AD playing at least 60 to 65 games. 60 to 65 games. I think they beat out the Kings. If not, I think the Kings got enough young scoring to possibly knock them out again. Because if you look at it, I mean, Schroeder, if they do start that Reeves off the bench, Kendrick Nunn, we'll see what he do. He was hurt pretty much most of the season last year, so we didn't really get much from him. Juan from the Warriors, he's not bringing much to the table, so they don't have too much depth. I don't really see where they go. Lonnie Walker, they thought that was a solid piece. I don't see how he makes too much of a difference. I don't. I mean, I think they get into the plan, but I do not think they make it into the top 8. and get into the playoffs. When you look at the Blazers coming in at 9, I mean, if Dame is healthy, Dame is one of them players that he's still in his prime. I feel like he's good enough to win you enough games to get you into a play-in situation. You look at Jeremy Grant, who's a good two-way player. You know, he plays solid defense, and he can give you a bucket here. He can stretch the floor, pick and roll, pick and pop, whatever you really need from him. Josh Hart is also a solid defender who can hit a shot here or there. Anthony Simons they need another step from him. He's shown signs of, he could be this or he could be that. They need to take another step. And then obviously with Nurkic, I mean, the thing about Nurkic is always been, can he stay healthy? If he's out there, he can give you 16 and 8, 16 and 7, which is solid when you have a star level player like Dame, and you have another player who could also give you now close to 15 to 20 points in Jeremy Grant. But can he stay on the court? Nazir Little, you know what I'm saying? He went to North Carolina. I still think he's trying to find his way and like really where he fit in the NBA. But I think he's a solid piece off your bench. It's not too much other than that though. Like they kind of low. I mean, you got Gary Payton, so you bring him in for defense, and then you look at Justice Winslow, who drafted by the Heat. I was really big. I was super excited when we got him out of Duke, but I mean, he's kind of fell off a little bit. I don't really know like how he fit in on that team. I know he kind of been playing like point forward a little bit. So I mean, we'll see how that works. But when you got Dame, I'm still betting on Dame to be close to top 10 to 12 player in the league. I think he could get them in. I don't know if they make it to the playoffs, but I do think they get a shot with the play-in. Coming in at number 8, this is a team that I think, like I was big on this move that they did personally, and I think a lot of teams are higher than them than I am in the regular season. I think that this is going to be a good playoff team, potentially, but the regular season, I just don't see it too much. And at 8, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, when you look at the addition of Rudy Gobert, you clearly shore up the rim. He got that reputation locked in. And where I also think it helps is now you are able to unlock Cat and let him play more in the mid-range. Let him play more on the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? Get him out there to really show all he could do. He's a good three-point shooter. I think he has one of the highest, if not the highest, three-point percentage from any center in history. He has a pretty solid mid-range percentage. Like being able to get him out there, and then you also have Anthony Edwards. Now imagine Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert pick and roll with Cat opposite corner. That's a scary combination. But when you look at their team, past that, I mean, D'Lo's still solid. You know, he's gonna be able to give you some threes here and there. He's gonna have games where he show out, but I don't think he's gonna be able to give you every night. McDaniels, solid fill-in role spot. I mean, fill-in starter, but nothing too much. But when you look past that, Kyle Anderson, McLavin, Noel, Prince, like they don't really have too much bench depth. And I think in the 82 game season, you need to be able to go 9, 10 deep to be able to win a lot of games. I think that just based off talent, I think Anthony Edwards take another leap this year. He could definitely be an all-star. I think they have a shot at it. I mean, at winning more games, but I just can't see how they win more games than these teams above them with the lack of depth they have. They did a good job getting their starting five together, getting Rudy Gobert. Him next to either Karl-Anthony Towns or like an AD was perfect for him. But as far as the rest of the team, a lot of guys about to step up in a big way, and I don't see them doing it. But come playoff time, they're going to be a tough out when Anthony Edwards is playing 30, 43, 44 minutes, Cat playing 40 minutes, Rudy Gobert playing 39 minutes. It's going to be tough to get them out of there, and that's not going to be easy. But moving right along to number 7, we have the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns are a huge disappointment from last year. They were my team. I had them winning it all. I felt like they were one of the more complete teams when you look at the point guard position, when you look at they had a star scorer, they had a big man who could score and play defense. They had shooting, they had defenders, they had 3D guys, they had everything I felt that you needed, but they just fell apart. It just fell apart at the wrong time, and it just didn't really make a lot of sense. And now when you look at it coming back, they have a lot of questions. You look at DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams situation, they did not talk. I mean, they got to a big argument at the end of the last season, and then they don't talk all off season. And then Monty tried to say, oh, well, you know, I had to talk to a lot of guys. You also didn't get into a screaming match with a lot of guys and needed to mend the relationship. I felt like that was a big negative. Then you look at losing Jay Crowder. I mean, they're trying to get rid of him. To me, a lot of people don't like Jay Crowder. I feel like we look at like Jay Crowder, PJ Tucker, Marcus Morris. Those are good guys to fill out that 4 spot for your team. They don't need a lot of touches. They hit shots when need be. They play defense. They do the dirty work, and they fill it out. Now you got to put Cam Johnson in the starting five. Who? Another North Carolina legend. Shout out to him. I'm happy for him being able to get into the starting five, but that take away from their bench. Him being able to come in and bring a little bit of different swag, hitting the jumpers, getting to the hole a little bit more, showing athleticism. It just brought a different feel. Now with him in the starting lineup, where do they go to in the bench? You look at Cameron Payne. Sorry, we don't know what he's gonna bring. Shaman is nobody really too worried. And then Tony Craig, it's not as much depth. It don't look as good as it did last year with just certain, you know what I'm saying, small losses. Jay Crowder's a big loss. Chris Paul is now a year older. We cannot expect him to not go through injuries as he goes into year 18 when he's had injury history throughout his whole career. And we also got to see what Aiden is about. If you hear with a team that you know they didn't want you, you know they were doing everything they could to get rid of you. It just didn't work out. Is he a dog and he gonna come out and ball out and be like, man, F that, I'm gonna show y'all why y'all should have been trying to keep me this whole time and why y'all should have been treating me like I was one of the big three? Or is he gonna fold? We got to see. It's a lot of questions, so it's hard for me to have him higher. If I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Suns wasn't in the play-in, if they could get a top 6 seed, but I just can't give it to him right now. Going up to the top 6, so now we're out of the play-in with the top 6. This team I'm very high on. I almost had them higher, but I just couldn't find a way to get them in there. I am high on the Pelicans. I think they finished with the 6th seed. When you look at Zion coming back, I think Zion had a huge season. I mean, before he was 27 on 60% shooting, something that we've never seen before. I think he take that to another step. I pray he stay healthy. If he's healthy, I'm excited to see what he do. You know, we started the young way last year with Luka, with Trey, with Tatum. I think Zion is right in that mix, and I think he rightfully so puts himself there this season. Once again, you look at BI. I feel like when you look at BI, he has all of the tools on both ends of the court. He was always a lethal scorer, but he took strides on defense last year to where he could be a Tatum type player. Not saying he's better than Tatum, but I'm saying a Tatum like player where he's leading his team in either first or second in scoring every game, and he also guarding one of the best perimeter wings every night and getting in them. So I feel like he has that potential. I'm excited to see his growth there. CJ McCollum, I feel like it's great that he moved to the point guard. He was a really undersized 2. He's a scorer, but he also can facilitate. I feel like he never got enough credit for how good of a facilitator he was. And he's also a vet. When you got 2 young stars like BI and Zion, you need somebody like CJ, who's also very smart, very knowledgeable on the game, very knowledgeable on just the day and days, on the court and off the court, how to keep your body ready, all of that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's also somebody that came from a small school. Unlike them, they're both Duke products, who's also always been top. He gave him a different perspective. I love that dynamic of that type of big three. Herb Jones, like the ultimate Army Swiss knife, like he gonna be able to guard. Like what I'm saying, BI taking that next step, he ain't got to worry about it though, because Herb is there to guard the best perimeter offensive player. He only got to get into the second guy and lock and do his thing. So I feel like they are very well rounded. I think they got enough scoring to go along with their defense. And then you got Valanciunas, another vet who's a big, solid man. He know how to post up. He know how to get his points here. And he's gonna rebound. He's not gonna ask for too many touches. He's gonna set his screens. He's gonna do everything you need. Looking at the bench, I feel like they got a very scrappy bench. When you look at Larry Nance, Alvarado, they got Hayes, and even Devontae Graham, who I think they fell off a little bit, but I feel like he's still a scrappy player who, when he gets out there, can give you some solid minutes. All of them are. Hayes is going to get in there, catch lobs, block shots, bring a bunch of energy. Larry Nance, same thing. Rebound, catch lobs, bring energy. Alvarado, get steals, facilitate, do what he needs to do in order to bring energy. So when you bring in that type of intensity off your bench, after that type of scoring power from your starters, I think they're in for a good season. But there's a lot of good teams ahead of them. But if they get, I wouldn't be surprised if they got a little bit higher. I'm very excited to see how the Pelicans turn out this year. Moving right up to 5, I have Memphis. I do feel like Memphis take a small step back. I know they were on top of the world last year. Shit, they was winning game, whether they had Ja, whether they didn't have Ja, they were just on fire. I feel like when you look at Ja, I think he takes another step in his development. Obviously, he's knocking at the door of being a top 10 player in this league. One of the most exciting players, hood favorite for sure. You look at Desmond Bane. I'm big on Desmond Bane. I like his game. I think he's a great 3-and-D guy. I think he's somebody that's perfect next to a Ja. You look at Dylan Brooks. I'm a little shaky on Dylan. Like, his shot selection is bad. He said he worked on it in the offseason. We got to see it in live action. Jaren Jackson, somebody I like a lot, but the foul trouble. When are you gonna learn how to play defense without fouling? And it's like at some point it gets old. Like, okay, man, oh, that's a bad call. At some point, you got to learn how to adjust to what's going on out there. And then they have Steven Adams, who I love Steven Adams for years with OKC and in his role here now, but it might be time to we might be getting to the end of that. I don't really see how they could look to move forward past this year with Steven Adams. I think that's something they need to address in the offseason. Zaire Williams off the bench, great shooter, long athlete. Brandon Clark, just kind of like a utility guy, going to give you rebounds, do this and that. Tyus Jones has turned himself into one of the best backups in the league. I will say that he's a top 2 or 3 backup PG in the league for sure. Not too deep past that. A couple guys that here and there going to give you a little bit. Tillman, we'll see if Danny Green come back off the injury, but they're not as deep. And they're not going to catch too many teams off guard like they did last year. I feel like Ja was missing games, and it was like, oh, okay, well, they not going to. What they were showing was they could do it even without him because Tyus Jones stepped up and took another step. And it was just, I don't think team was expecting that. This year, they're going to be ready for it. Memphis is being looked at as one of the top teams. And I just don't know, as young as they are, with not much vet leadership. I mean, they have Steven Adams, but he's not really like a vocal leader. So they don't really have much of that. They all young and kind of immature, to be honest. Danny Green being there, but him not playing, I feel like it's only so much impact you could have when you're not suited up, participating in practice, playing in the games with him. But he should have some impact. But I just feel like they're super young, and I don't know how they respond to all of the hype. Oh, now it's Memphis versus the Warriors, this and that. We waiting to see it again. Like, you know what I'm saying? That could get to a young team head, i.e. Atlanta last year. But let's move right up to the top 4, to the teams with home court advantage. We have the Los Angeles Clippers. Anybody that follow me on social media, anybody that been watching my pod know how high I am on the Clippers, how high I am on Kawhi and PG. I think when Kawhi is healthy, he's one of the 2 or 3 best players in the world. I mean, PG is just like, when you think about like what's the perfect, if you imagine a basketball player, it's PG. Like, handles, jumper, athleticism, defense, rebounding. He really has no flaws in his game. He got over his hiccups of not showing up in the playoffs, the playoff P shit. That shit is over. I feel like they got John Wall, Reggie Jackson. I don't care which one they start, whichever one they start, they have one of the best 1-2 punches at back at PG. I think by the end of the season, it's going to be John Wall. He's looking really good if it's not him at the beginning of the season. But Reggie Jackson, 6-man, solid. Like I just said earlier, Marcus Morris, good fillers, field starters. And then you got Zubac. I think Zubac is better than he get credit for. I don't think he's like great or anything, but he do what he needs to do. He rebound, he play defense, he gonna give you a shot here and there. They got Norman Powell off the bench, Terrence Mann took a step, Robert Covington, like Batum, Kennard. Like, I think the Clippers are the deepest team in the league. When you have that type of depth, come playoff time, I think it's gonna be bad for teams. But I do think when you got players like Kawhi who'd have been there, done that, PG who'd have been in big games, John Wall been in big games, Marcus Morris been in big games, and Kawhi coming off the injury, John Wall been out 2 years. I don't think that they're gonna worry too much about seeding, and I don't think they're gonna like push it to the limit. If I thought they would push it to the limit, I would have them as the 2 seed, possibly the 1 seed if I thought they was gonna go guns blazing the whole season. But we haven't seen Kawhi not load manage in years. PG might as well keep him healthy. This is a team that's going for a championship, and there's no reason to, whether you the 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, as long as you have home court in the first round, the rest of that shit don't really matter, in my opinion. I don't think it matters to them. So that's why I got them 4. Moving up to the 3 spot, we have Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. I think that a lot of people are gonna think this is high for them, but when you look at the step that I think Luka is taking this year, I think he's gonna be out of this world. I think his offensive game has always been out of this world, but I think he takes a step on defense. When you get to that point of playing the top dogs, he playing the Warriors, going up against Steph Curry, being guarded by Andrew Wiggins, seeing what it's like on the biggest stages, and you being exposed for not being able to play defense, and every play they headhunting you. Chris Paul, the series before that, was trying to do it. When you are great, that's the type of stuff that motivates you to come back hungry. That's the type of stuff that make you say, okay, what I've been doing been working, now it don't work no more. Sometime when you that good and you've been that good that long, you need to be knocked on your ass to come back and regroup. So I feel like he lost weight this year. He'll be working on his endurance. He'll be working on sliding his feet. I think he takes another step. They already was a top 5 defense last year, so all he needs is to get a little bit better on defense. They got bigger by getting rid of Brunson and bringing in Dinwiddie to start now. I think Dinwiddie starting is a good thing because they have 2 3-and-D guys in Finney and Bullock who can't create shots. Finney can create a little bit better than Bullock, but none you can count on it. So since you can't really count on that too much, you need 2 people that get out there and get shots for them. You got JaVale McGee, who's the ultimate lob threat. If you thought Chris Paul and all of them players was getting them live, wait till you see what Luka do with him. It's finna be crazy. This is where things could get tricky for the Dallas Mavericks. If they could get everybody to buy in, I think they're a very scary team. Christian Woods is somebody that they want to have as the 6th man. I just automatically assumed he would be starting. I'm sure he thought he would be starting. He tweeted a couple months ago that he thought this would be his all-star year. I don't know how you're going to make all-star from the 6th man as loaded as the West is. So that's going to take some buy-in. If J. Kidd can pull off Christian Woods buying into being a 6th man, I think he's one of the best 6 men in the league. And you pair him with Tim Hardaway Jr., who was also a starter, but coming off the injury, him coming off the bench isn't too big of a deal. I think that's 30 to 35 points every game from just them 2 guys. And then you look at, now this is, as far as them 2, that's locked in. You look at Kleber, who bringing a whole different vibe from JaVale. JaVale pick and roll, lob threat. Kleber is more pick and pop, hit the 3, pump fake, take off dribble. Now he can't ride. He showed in the playoffs he could take off, but his main aspect is to hit 3s, space the floor. I think that's a good solid 8-man rotation. The big key though is Hardy. If the young fella could come in and run the second unit where you could steal minutes with Luka and Dinwiddie on the bench, that would be huge. If he can come in and get Christian Woods pick and roll going, get him shots, get Hardaway open 3s, get Kleber open shots, and then you could have one of the 3-and-D guys out there with them, Bullock or Finney, and rotate them in. That would be great to be able to get Luka and them rest. If not, if Hardy can't take that step, then you pretty much have to go the whole game with either Dinwiddie or Luka in the game because you need shot creation at all times. So Hardy's step, I think, takes them to a whole different level and puts them in position to make another conference finals run. We'll see what he can do, young Buck. I mean, I know it's young, but as a 9th man on the team, when you have somebody like Luka, once the playoffs start, we'll be playing 42, 43 minutes. It's not that big of a deal, but we'll see how it goes for him. The 2 seed, it's the Nuggets. When you look at it, you got the 2-time MVP on your team. Every year you should be expected to come in and finish top 2, 3. Every year you should have championship expectations. Every year you should think that if my guys, we got the best player in the world, which I don't think he's the best player in the world, but they should feel like he is. He's 2-time MVP. You look at Jamal Murray coming back. I feel like people have really slept on what he brings to the table. He brings him, and also how clutch he is, how many big shots he made, how much offense he sets up for them, and how much him and Nikola 2-game game it was unguardable. I don't think people remember that. That was the best 2-game in basketball, Murray and Jokic. So I'm excited to see that back. Porter's back as well. Hopefully he got a little bit better. Obviously, he's one of the best shooters in the league, in my opinion, but I need to see more on defense. He started taking a few strides on defense before he got hurt last year. Aaron Gordon, he's getting into that role of the Marcus Morris and them, was just solid player. I wish he could be a little bit better shooter. That would really help them, but he hit 3s here and there, so he's not too bad. Then you got Caldwell Pope, who's the ultimate 3-and-D guy. The starting lineup is good. I really wish they could have kept Monte Morris. I think that's going to hurt them throughout the season because, I mean, as you're trying to bring Jamal Murray back in slowly, as you're trying to make sure he feel comfortable, like he feeling good and he's able to make it through the whole 82 and through the playoff. I feel like Monte Morris would have been good. Bones Highland, I know they big on him. I don't know. To me, it's risky to turn over your whole second unit offense to him, but that's what they feel. That's what they feel good about. It was harder to have them any lower though when you have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter coming back based on what they did last year. And Jokic still, to me, going to be playing at MVP level. Tough to do it. Coming at the 1 seed, we have the Golden State Warriors. I do feel like the Golden State Warriors are going to kind of look at the season like the Clippers, where it's like it doesn't really matter where we fall. It doesn't really matter what seed, but they have enough young talent when you look at Moody and Kuminga, who I think will be in the rotation this year. when you look at James Wiseman, who I think could be in the rotation. And I still feel was the right pick over LaMelo based off of what they already had on their team. Jordan Poole, who I think could be borderline, he's a borderline star. Like they have a young enough second unit who will be able to win games against teams that aren't that good. They're not going to be dropping a lot of them games because their second unit is going to be good. Dante DiVincenzo, whatever his name is, last name is, he's solid. JaMychal Green, I'm not that big on him, but if you're going to tell me he the 10th or 11th man, cool. Andre Iguodala, he there for more vet leadership than anything. Looney don't miss games, so you always going to have him. I think that it's just too much to not compete to be right there for the 1 seed. When you look at the chances, even if somebody get hurt, like last year, Curry get hurt, they bring in Poole. Clay get hurt, they gonna bring in Poole. Wiggins get hurt, they got Kuminga. Like they have pieces to fit. Kuminga can come in for either Draymond or Andrew Wiggins. Wiseman can come in for Looney. Like they have good fits at every spot. So injury shouldn't be that big of a problem. We'll see how it go. Like once the playoffs come and things like that. As Clay gets a year older, Dre gets a year older. But I feel like as far as the regular season go, I think they'll be able to win enough games to get the 1 seed, in my opinion. That's the West. Let's get it going right on to the East. At the 15th seed, we have the Pacers. I don't think this team is much better than the Spurs. They got Halliburton, but other than that, I know they're going to trade Miles and Buddy at some point this year, so they don't really have much to look for. This is the race for the big guy. We're going to see who will get the 1 spot. But they definitely in for it. When you look at Orlando, I think Orlando has a lot of unanswered questions. Some people saying Fultz started, some people saying Cole Anthony started. If they go with Fultz, I think that's the wrong thing. I think Cole Anthony was their best player last year. Yeah, I don't care what nobody say. Jalen Suggs already got hurt. Gary Harris, I think he's hurt as well. So like they have injuries. I think they're expecting a lot out of Paolo. I like Paolo a little bit better after watching him all throughout the summer than I did when he was still at Duke. But I don't think he's good enough to where you can just turn your franchise around 1 year. Franz Wagner, solid player. So they have pieces where they're moving in the right direction with Del Carter, but I don't think it's enough to where they're going to win games right now, especially when they don't even know who started and things like that. Terrence Ross, these are all players that sound like good fit, but it's like, I got to see it first. I need to see what Paolo's going to do in the NBA at the 4 spot. He's a big, strong guy, but I don't know if he's quick enough to get play in, play out, dominate yet. But we will see. But I have him 14th. 13th, I have the Hornets. Excuse me. I was thinking about switching the Hornets with the next team and putting them 12, but now LaMelo hurt. You know what I'm saying? I feel like all of these teams that know that they don't really have a shot to win it all or to even really make the playoffs without making it to the play-in. Like I don't think the Hornets feeling like they're a top 6 seed. So any of them type of teams, if your players aren't 100% healthy, is this serious? I think that they're sitting them. If we're not going to the playoffs, why are we not trying to get the top seed and get this 7-4 Frenchman? So LaMelo, I don't know how long he's gonna be out, but I can see it being a little longer than needed. But even when he get back, the offense, I mean, him and Terry Rozier are solid on offense. Gordon Hayward looked good in spurts last year, but he continues to get older. PJ Washington, I don't know. He don't give you much on offense. And neither does Mason Plumlee. I feel like that's one of the worst center power forward offensive duos in the league. Like it's not much there. Oubre should be able to give you something off the bench, but you got Cody Martin. I mean, James Bouknight. Like they looking for people to do stuff that I don't really know if they ready to do yet. So I don't really see how they pull off too many wins. Mark Williams, don't be surprised if by the end of the season he takes Mason Plumlee's job. That definitely could be in the cards. This next team at number 12, we have the Knicks. I mean, they did all of this to get Jalen Brunson, and I really just don't see it. I know that Jalen Brunson won a couple games for the Mavericks last year without Luka against Utah, but if you look now, Utah traded all their pieces. They weren't a team that felt good about how they were going. He got to look hot. But if you look at it, I don't think Jalen Brunson is a top 15 point guard in this league. So when you match him up with RJ, who I think took great strides last year, 2 left-hand players, I mean, they're going to give you some good scoring, but I don't think they're going to be too solid on defense. Julius Randle took another step back. Mitchell Robinson, he's solid, but it's not much there. Quentin Grimes, there's not much three-point shooting in your lineup. RJ Barrett is not a good shooter. Randall's not a good shooter. Grimes is not that good of a shooter. And Brunson is streaky. None of that is shooting. And if you look at the whole roster, where is the shooting on the whole team? Quickly, Derrick Rose. Fournier is solid. they're going to have to get Cam Reddish in there if they think that they're going to have some shooting because Obi Toppin, there is nothing. So for your team to be kind of a funky fit with your starting lineup, then your backups, there is no shooting. I don't really see they could really fall lower. Like I said, if it wasn't for LaMelo being hurt early and we not know how long that could stretch out, they would have even been lower. I'm not excited about this team at all. I caught a lot of slack for not being excited last year. Right back, same shit, new year. Moving up to the 11th spot, this is a team I'm excited for. Not all the way necessarily this year, but moving forward, the Detroit Pistons coming in at 11. This is a lot higher. If you watch a lot of other people's predictions, I'm sure they're going to have them anywhere from 13 to 15, honestly. But I look at Cade as a generational player. I feel like the strides he's going to take this year are going to be massive. I feel like last year he came in a little banged up at the beginning. He missed some time early. And then it just took him a little longer to adjust once he came off the injury. But once he got rolling, I feel like he definitely was the rookie of the year. He got robbed. I think he coming in with a chip on his shoulder. He coming in another year mature, another year getting your body a NBA grown man weight on you. And then you bring somebody like Jaden Ivey in who's a change of pace. Cade is more break you down, half court, I shoot, get to the hole, facilitate. Ivy is the total opposite. Give me the ball, let me get a transition, let me see where I can get, let me get to the rack, let me rise on somebody, let me get my people involved. They both want to get players involved, but they just do it from a different way. So I think like that yin and yang type of aspect will be solid. Sadiq Bey, we need a step from you. They definitely need him to go and at least be close to a 20-point a game score and just be consistent. Bagley, they need a few more points than you averaged last year, but pretty much the same role as what you did last year. Pick and pop, hit your shots, rebound. You know what I'm saying? When they give you the ball, ISO, make your moves and be confident and go score the ball like you've done your whole life. Isaiah Stewart, a lot of people don't like Isaiah Stewart for whatever reason. Me, I think he's a solid big. I think he's just as solid as a majority of these other centers that's not really great scorers, but rim protectors, rebounders. He's going to be fine for them, setting screens, things like that. When you look at their second unit, I mean, Durant, I think he's a young talent. I really was big on him. I did not think the Pistons were going to be able to get him. Them getting him was going to be solid. Kelly Olynyk, another vet. You look at Killian Hayes. I know Kelly Hayes was a top 10 pick, so they think he should be this and that. If you could be the third guard for them in a solid 6-man, that's a great role. Diallo, he just got to come in and play the role of defense. Alex Burke and Diallo to coming together. Burke, you score. Diallo, you play D. They could win some games. I do think they're going to be exciting. And then when you look at the jump Cade is going to make, they're going to be fighting for that play-in. Just tune in. And then when you look at this next team, the Washington Wizards. I got the Washington Wizards finishing 10. And when I look at the roster, it's really tough for me to, when I look at this roster, have them over Cade and them. I really, 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 really want to put Cade in the 10th spot and drop them down. But when you look at, I just talked about Monte Morris, him being the best backup, but now he's the starting point guard full-time, which he did last year, and he was solid in that role. Bradley Beal, I was one of the best scorers in the league. Will Barton, Kuzma, and KP. I'm going to leave them there for now, but I hold the right to switch them within the first month or so of the season because I just don't know if I'm as high on them. The line right, you know what I'm saying? They got a couple, Rui, Corey, yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave them at 10 for right now. I like what Bradley Beal and them bring to the table, but I am nervous on that. I will see though. Moving up to 9. This is a team that a lot of people got higher than this. I don't really see why. Like, I don't see what they've done to earn so much respect. But I got the Raptors finishing 9. When you look at it, I mean, Van Fleet, I think had a really great year last year. I don't think he'd do as good this year. I think he'd take a little bit of a step back. I like Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes. Obviously, that class is a hit. Obviously, he played with Cade in high school. They've been good friends. They've been good players. Scotty's a great player. Pascal Siakam, hey man, he made third team All NBA last year. I mean, he'll fight for third team again this year. But when you look past that, there is no height. Are they gonna start Precious? Is they gonna start Thaddeus Young? Where do they get their rim protection from? Where is they backup? I mean, you got OG, and then you got Chris, and you got either Thaddeus or Precious, whichever one you don't start. There isn't much depth there. I don't really see where they're looking at. Most of their players are going to have to be playing close to 35 plus 38 minutes, 35 to 39 minutes a game. Every game, that's a high risk for injuries. I really just don't see how they think they just finna protect the rim with Precious and Siakam. Like, I don't even know I don't know what they thought this was. Like, they're gonna be solid on offense. Barnes playing the point forward. You know what I'm saying? Fred hitting three, Gary hitting three, Siakam getting buckets. But on defense, I think they have some trouble. I don't even know. I don't even know if they will make it in. Definitely they make the play in. But if they get the eighth spot, I just can't tell you that. Moving into the eighth spot, though, we have the Bulls. With Lonzo being out, I think that's huge. I don't know when he'll be back. He said he having delays in his rehab, which is unfortunate to hear. But I do think if he come back sometime this season, that'd be great. But they still have DeRozan, you still have LaVine. That's two of the best scorers in the league. No matter how you feel about them in the regular season, they gonna get buckets. They gonna do enough. Patrick Williams will be back. Nikola, they have a good power forward center combination going. Williams got hurt last year, really hurt them. Him being back is gonna make up a lot. They also aren't that deep though. Ayo need to take a step up. Kobe would have been a solid backup PG, but now with Lonzo out, he's gonna have to start. So we'll see what's going. Dragic still have left in the tank. Caruso, hey man, Caruso is a solid piece. I gotta give Brett credit. I don't know if I ever ended up giving him his credit how I wanted to last year. He definitely was impactful on their defense. I think they overhyped it a little bit how impactful he was and how much he was missed, and like they trying to use that as an excuse a little bit. But he was definitely impactful, and I definitely think he'd be good for them this year. But I can't get him no higher than 8, man. Just can't do it. At 7, a lot of y'all favorite team, the Nets. I'm not that sold, my guy. Now, obviously, I feel like I've been saying it. Ben Simmons, if they want to be successful with him, he's gonna have to play the 4. But if he plays the 4, it might have to be the 5. Because when you look at it, if he starts with another big, let's say they start Claxton. So now you're looking at Kyrie, KD, let's say Joe Harris, Ben, and Claxton. It's clogged. Ben Simmons, it needs to be in that dunker spot. Where's Claxton? That's where he be. So it's like, okay, now you got Ben Simmons kind of no man land, whether he's at the top of the key. If he's going to facilitate. They have 2 ISO scorers. So you got KD on one wing, you got Kyrie on one wing trying to get a bucket, and then you got one shooter roaming. Where does that make room for Ben Simmons to be all in there making plays? Ben Simmons to be in there in the dunker spot. Get the ball, try to dunk it. If not, from the post, make a play out to somebody or find Kyrie or somebody cutting. I would start Ben at the 5, along with KD at the 4, which would still be solid because Ben is a good defender and KD is a solid rim protector, not a great rim protector, but solid. And I would look to get somebody in there alongside Kyrie and Joe, like a TJ Warren, just because we need more scoring out there. And then once we get a Kyrie out the game or KD out the game, and we can let Ben kind of facilitate more with less ISO scores out there, then maybe. But if you're going to run 2 bigs, I don't see how it go, and I do feel like they're going to do that. Seth Curry, Cam Thomas, they have some decent bench scoring, but I just don't see them going no higher because I think it's a funky fit. And I feel like with Ben Simmons, until we see it, I just feel like he brings trouble that they don't really have answers for. And you got to account for KD missing time possibly, Kyrie missing time possibly. It's a lot to go on. I think they end up playing. Let's move right outside the play-in. People going to be like, huh, but I'm here to be honest. I'm here to tell the truth. I got the Miami Heat finishing as the 6th seed. Everybody that know me know I'm a diehard Heat fan. I got my D-Wade jerseys on the wall for my next 2 episode. I'll probably face that with so y'all can see them. But I don't like our team. I do not like our roster at all. When you look at it, Kyle Lowry is still our point guard. And I do not feel like he's going to get much better. Like, he's just going to be what he is. He's still a little overweight. Now we're starting 2 white boys. We got to start Tyler Herro and Max Strus, which Tyler Herro was solid in the 6th role. That's half our bench scoring gone. Jimmy at the 4. I do not want Jimmy starting at the 4 due to the simple fact he's somebody to get to the paint because he's not a great shooter. So he needs to be against other guards or wings so that he can have the advantage of muscling them. If he has a power forward on him, now he has a 3-point line. That's going to either force him to take more threes because they're going to sag off, or it's going to limit his ability to get to the hole and be able to finish. That shit is tough. Then you look at Bam at the center. I do like Bam at the center spot. I'm okay with that, but I just wish we could get another 4. I pray that Jay Crowder, who, like I said, the Suns don't want him, I pray we could get him. If we could get him and move Herro back to the bench or Strus to the bench and get some more scoring, I feel like we'd be solid. We expect a lot of Nikola Jokic. I mean, Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, which I like Gabe Vincent, and but it's just a lot going on, bro. I just don't really see it. I almost would rather have Gabe Vincent starting than Kyle Lowry. I'm way out on him, but he the PG. I wish Vic could start over Hero so Hero could still give us the points off the bench. But we'll see what Vic look like. But I don't have him higher than 6 coming into the season. Obviously, they my team. So at any time, if they get hot, I'm gonna be ready to move quick. But I'm here to be honest. So they the 6th seed. 5 seed, some people gonna say this a little premature. I'm high on it. Atlanta Hawks, I'm here to back up what I've been talking about. When you look at Trae Young, who is one of the best players in the league, at the end of the day, if you'd had the most points and the most assists in the league, I don't care what they say about you. That's super impressive. I doubted him at the beginning of his career, but now he is one of the best. I think he's probably the 3rd or 4th best point guard, no matter depending on how you feel about him and Ja. But I mean, I think he's close to 30 and 10 every game. And you bring DeJounte Murray. His biggest problem was he couldn't play defense. Now you bring in a DeJounte Murray who could give you 20 and 10 and could also guard the best perimeter offensive player. And then they get Hunter back. So you got Hunter and you got Murray. They finna be clamping up on defense. John Collins, hopefully he can just stay in the role, get his feet under him. They always want to trade him, but they just can't never seem to pull the trigger. Hopefully he can get back to close to 20 and 10. And Clint Capella, one of the best centers in the league, in my opinion. As far as rim protection, he gonna catch lobs. He don't miss many shots. He don't make many mistakes. I think they have one of the best starting 5s in the league. You add Bogdan to the mix, Aaron Holiday. They aren't the deepest team, but I do feel like they have enough. You look at Onike, the young brother that played with Melo. They have enough to compete as long as they don't have any major injuries. As long as Hunter and Murray and Trae and them stay healthy, they definitely, I think, can have a better record than my Heat, unfortunately. But hey, you never know. Long season. Coming in at the 4th spot with home court advantage, they made a big move. This was supposed to be our move. This was supposed to be one of our spots in this top 4 if we would have been able to make this move. But the Cavs come in at 4 because they were able to get Donovan Mitchell. At first, I'm like, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, that shit ain't gonna work. Then I thought, oh wait, they got Mobley and Jared Allen. They said it don't even matter, bro. Like if you get past them, you have 2 of the best, if not the 2 best rim protectors in the league on your side. I think if they bring scoring, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell will be giving you 45 to 50 points a night. Okura, they could do a little bit better with him. But I feel like with the scoring that you get from your backcourt, he is going to be solid. He can give you 10 to 12 points. Mobley is going to give you 18, 20. Allen going to give you 4. Like, they going to have enough scoring come. And then Mobley's one of the biggest unicorns in the league. Like, what he brings to the table is something so unique that I think that he takes another leap. Him and Cade, obviously, 2 best players in that class, in my opinion. Both going to go crazy. Donovan Mitchell, I think, has a huge year. You don't have to worry about beefing with teammates. You don't have to worry about, I don't got nobody else that can score. He got Darius Garland that can get him a bucket. And then come off the bench with LeVert. Everybody saying LeVert should start. No, he should not. Leave him as the 6th man. Let him come off the bench and get you almost 20. Kevin Love almost won 6th man of the year last year. So hopefully he still got enough in the tank. I really do like Seti. Like I'm big on them. I do feel like they can really make a run at it this year with all they bring to the table. This year they should be good, but next year, as they get another year together, don't be surprised if they're one of the favorites to come out the East for sure. Coming in at the 3 seed, I have the Boston Celtics, the East champs from last year. I do think they take a little bit of a drop off, just based on the fact I do think them losing their coach matter. The coach took on the whole identity of that team took on the whole identity of the coach. That's not the case in every situation where they take, they take on their identity. But for this specific team, that's definitely what happened. Now you look at Brogdon. Are they gonna start Brogdon next to Marcus Smart and move Tatum to the 4? Are they gonna try to move, are they gonna bring him off the bench? I think it'd be good to bring him off the bench. We'll see how they do though. I think, and then past that, I don't think they're that deep of a team. Look at Derek White. Al Horford, is he gonna continue to do what he's been doing? Or is it going to be something where we got to wait till closer to the playoffs again? Grant Williams is solid, so we look at Grant Williams, Brogdon, Derek White. I'm not that big on Pritchard, but I do think they have enough, but I do feel like them losing their coach will cost them a couple games. I just feel like in my heart that he really impacted the way they played basketball last year. The 2nd seed, I know I'm catching heat from this, but I do feel like the Philadelphia 76ers will finish as the 2nd seed in the East. getting PJ Tucker and stealing him from the Heat, not getting Donovan Mitchell, and also losing PJ Tucker was huge for my team. Every team that had PJ Tucker, he either made them a championship level team or to put them in the hunt for the championship. He's that impactful. What he does, undersized, the way he stretches the floor out, he stands in the corner of offense. He don't need the ball much, but he's gonna knock it down if you give it to him, and he gonna guard your best player, the other team's best player, whether it's KD, whether it's a guard, no matter if it's just big. His heart is unlimited. And I feel like that opens up another level for them. You look at Embiid. I think Embiid is going to take a little bit different approach, and I'll get to that in a minute on what I mean by that. But I still think he's going to be super dominant. I still think he's going to be top 6 player in the league this year. He's going to take his team to another level. He had them competing for a 2-3 seed the whole season. They ended up finishing 4th, but the whole season without Harden for all year, without this player, without all the distraction, without PJ. So now you add PJ, when you add a little bit more focused Harden, who I think knows this is his last opportunity to truly show that he's one of the better players in the league. I'm a little bit down on him, but I think he coming in with the right mindset of, I know I got stuff to prove. Let's get it done. Maxey, I think, take another step. I think what we got from Maxey last year was a bit of a surprise, but I think now he like, okay, I'm expecting to do this. So I think he go up. Tobias Harris, he finished the season solid. I will say that. I think he coming this year pretty good. Daniel House, I think, is a really good shooter. When you bring in Matisse, not having to start him, not having to have him too much in the lineup, but just bringing him specifically as a defensive stopper, as somebody that come in, lock up, and get back to the bench. I think that's good. Milton as a third string PG behind Harden and Maxey, they have enough to finish. Georgie Naim, you feel me? He gonna hit a couple threes here. Montrezl Harrell, I don't know if playing behind him gonna get him to focus. He don't really play defense, but other than him, I do think they got enough to get there. In the 1 seed, I do feel like it'll be the Milwaukee Bucks. Not getting past the Celtics last year, I think had a lot. It's gonna have a lot to do with this season. I think Giannis is gonna come in focused, ready to go from day one. Get Middleton back. I think everybody's gonna be locked in, and they're gonna be gunning for the 1 spot as far as just to make a point to not only the rest of the league, like, hey man, we here. This just happened last year, but to also prove to themselves, like, we are one of the best teams in the league. We can do this. I feel like when you look at Jrue Holiday, I was very disappointed with how Jrue Holiday played in the playoffs as the second option past the first few games, but back in his normal role as the third option, the defender, I think he'd be solid. Chris Middleton, he showed how important he was and how impactful he could be. Them also going to get who did they go get? Oh, Joe Ingles. I think they still need another wing or so. I don't be surprised if they make another move closer to the All-Star break. But with this roster, Brook Lopez still stretching shit out. Serge Ibaka coming in, giving you a little bit here and there. I think they have enough with the best player in the world to finish first in the East. Ladies and gentlemen, those are my West and East predictions. Now let's move right along into my awards. We have a few awards here. We have MVP, no doubt in my mind who I'm going with. Luka Doncic, year 5, first MVP. I feel like he also is going to lead the league in scoring. I think he's going to average over 30 points. I think he'll average over 9 rebounds and 8 or 9 assists. I do think he'll be top 3 in assists, top 10, 15 in rebounds from the PG position. This is another reason why I'm also so high. I just think he's going to take his game to another level, be able to play more minutes, be able to stay healthy more, which I think is also something that kind of lingered a little bit, coming in out of shape, kind of getting nicked up, missing a few games, or not really playing up to your expectation every single game. I think he'll be able to do that this year. The runner-up, I do feel, is Giannis. Like I said, they going to come and get the 1 seed. But, I mean, he already got to the voter fatigue is still kind of set in a little bit. So I do think Luka's going to come in and just dominate so much from start to finish that he's going to have to get it. But Giannis is going to be right there. Moving to Defensive Player of the Year, this is what I meant by a different approach. I think Embiid wins Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like he's looking at it like, it's hard for me to win MVP. I'm scoring. I led the league in scoring last year. That wasn't enough. I feel like he's going to take his game to another level on defense while also being dominant on offense to where the point where they're gonna feel like they need to give him an award, and they're gonna feel like he deserves something. And I feel like Defensive Player of the Year is where he makes his mark this year. Runner up for that award, I will say, is Robert Williams. The Celtics are going to be one of the better defenders, and with Marcus Smart, they're not going to give it to a guard 2 years in a row, so they're going to find somebody else on their team. I think that's also kind of equally responsible for the defense, so they're going to lean towards Robert Williams. Most improved, 6th man of the year, I got Jordan Poole. I think he had an action at it last year. I definitely think he get it this year. It depends on how many games he ends up starting. Depends on like how injuries and rest go with Clay and Curry and all of them. But if he's eligible, I think he gets it. Like I said, if Christian Wood buy in, I think he's going to be dominant. I definitely think he got a shot at winning this award. But I went with Jordan Poole for sure. Most improved, we're going with Cade. Even though I don't think that top draft pick should be eligible for this award. I don't think Josh should have won it last year. I don't think Cade should be eligible because he's supposed to take a leap. That's the point of having being a top 5 pick. But that's the rules. So I think he's going to take an all-star like leap. Not all-star like. I think Cade Cunningham will be an all-star this year. So with that being said, obviously I have him as most improved. Mobley, who I also think will be close to, if not an all-star as well. I think he's right behind him for runner-up. Coach of the year, I'm going with Jason Kidd. I just feel like if him to get Christian Woods to buy in, Tim Hardaway Jr. to buy in, two guys that are really that want to start, that feel like they should be starting. He get them to buy into that 6 or 7 man role. He get the offense run. He get Luka playing defense. He has the most room to grow from stuff that we clearly seen or that we clearly know are problems. Luka defense, I think that takes a step. Christian Wood buying as a 6 man, I think he does that. Tim Hardaway Jr. buying in, coming off the bench when he's been before last year with Brunson, he was the second best player on the team, in my opinion. That buying as a PG himself, getting Hardy to take strides as a backup point guard. All of that type of stuff, getting Dinwiddie and Luka to be able to mesh together for a whole season. He has enough to deal with to if I feel like he's able to get all that together, which if y'all know how I feel about J Kidd as a player, as a basketball mind. I think he's one of the top 5 or 6 basketball minds we've ever seen in the league. So I feel like if anybody can get it done, he can. And then second and runner-up is kind of funny. I got Doc Rivers. Me and Reg, if y'all know, we talk shit about Doc Rivers all the time as a coach. But I feel like with him being named top 15, they hear the noise just like we hear it. So if Philly do finish second, they're gonna be trying to prop him up to kind of get his name back on track because he kind of been talked about a little bit down here and there throughout the years. And if you look into first team, second team, third team, now this is hard to do because I mean obviously it's a long season, but this is what I have going into the year. First team All NBA, Luka Doncic. Obviously he's my MVP. If you're the MVP, first team All NBA. Steph Curry, like I said earlier, I feel like he's trying to right his wrongs because he didn't get first team last year due to missing the games with his injury. So he's gonna come back this year. I think if they do get the 1 seed, he'll be primed to get first team. This is where it gets interesting. I have Zion Williamson, first team All NBA. I think Zion is going to take a crazy leap this year. I do feel like he'd be an all-star. I just think you come 27 points on 60%, 8 rebounds. I think his rebound take a step. He's heard all the noise. He heard all he can't do this, he can't do that. He is ready to have a huge year and carry the Pelicans to heights that they've probably never been to before. I have him first team. Second other forward on this list is obviously Giannis, runner-up for MVP. He's first team every year. Lock him, Luka and Giannis, lock him in for the next 5, 6, 7. They only ones been first team last 3. They're gonna be the only ones to be first team the next 5. You feel me? That's just how it's gonna go. Tatum, you had a good year last year. I still think he have a great year this year, but I do think that you lose your spot to Zion. And then the center, Embiid, I definitely feel like this is the year. I don't think Nikola get MVP. I don't think he be the runner-up just for fatigue. And Embiid win the Defensive Player of the Year. We'll give him the edge to get him onto first team, but it will be close. Second team All NBA, I got Ja. This is where he was at last year. I just feel like he's in a tough spot right now. Steph's still doing better than he's supposed to be doing this late in his career. And then you just got Luka, who you just clearly not better than. So it's tough for him to get one of those spots, but Ja, you's a boy. And same go for this next guy, Trey. I actually wrote Trey as first team, crossed it out and put Steph. I just think that Steph is going to get it over him, but I do think Trey is dominant. And it's just a simple fact of sometimes you're just born with the wrong guy. Ja and Trey going to deal with a lot of. Luka is just a little bit better than y'all for their whole career, similar to how D Wade and Carmelo had to deal with it with Brian, or Hakeem and Charles Barkley had to deal with it with Jordan, or whatever. It's just when you got somebody that's a little bit better than you, that's generational the way that these guys are, it just don't matter how good you are. They just a little bit better. The forwards for the second team, I do feel like Kawhi Leonard. I don't think he's going to play the whole season, obviously, but I do think he will play enough games where he will be able to be an all-star starter, where he will be able to be second team All-NBA. His numbers are going to be good. I feel like he's a cyborg. I don't care about the injury. He's gonna come back and be right back to his same number. KD, you know what KD do. If he healthy, he's a bucket. He got action at first team every year he's out there. But I just feel like Zion, what he gonna do is gonna be a little bit more than KD. Plus they're gonna be a little bit higher seed. So yeah, KD second team with Jokic. I was like I said, that could switch. Embiid, Jokic, I can't really call it, but I'm gonna go with Embiid. Third team, I got D Book. I do feel like the Suns take a step back, but if you notice, I didn't say anything about D Book taking no step back. I think the rest of the team is, but D Book is gonna ball because that's what he do. He get buckets. He gonna facilitate. He took a strides on defense. I think he's still an all around great player. People say he fell off in the playoffs, whatever, shit happens. Most of the greats have had bad games and bad series. He will be fine. He will be one of the best 6 guards in the league. And then you look at the last spot, I think D Mitch, when you look at what the Cavs is going to do, you'll have to find a way to get one of them on there. I do feel like Garland will be the leader, but I do feel like Donovan Mitchell will show to be the best player, at least as far as scoring go, as far as the offense go. Mobley is the most, he has the highest ceiling, but for this year in particular, I still think Donovan Mitchell could be the best player and get that spot. Tatum, hey man, it's tough for you to go to first team, third team, but Zion back, Kawhi back. I think then people take your spot and move you down to 13. That's no disrespect to you, man. You are the truth. But these guys will have a little bit better year. Now that Cat is going to be playing the 4 with Rudy Gobert, he should be eligible for the 4th spot. So I got him coming in at the second forward position. He will be playing the 4 all year long unless Rudy Gobert get hurt. Rudy Gobert 3 inches taller than him and a better rim protector. He's the center. So if Cat as my second forward, I think he's going to be 25 plus with 10 rebounds. I don't see. I would be disappointed if Cat isn't 25 and 10 this year for sure. So he has action to even be a little higher, but you know Kawhi and KD, you know what they do. And then my last center, Bam Adebayo. I think with Cat being able to go down to the forward and Rudy Gobert, I feel like this is the year for Bam to really get his recognition as one of the best defenders in the league. He said he's taking more shots this year. He's going to be more aggressive on offense. So if he can bring his game full circle and be more complete of a player like we expect him to be, and we know he could be, this is his spot to lose. Ladies and gentlemen, those are my seedings. Those are my awards. And those are my team, first, second, and third team for the NBA season. Hey, if you got any questions, if you got any comments, hit me. Twitter, Instagram, you know what to do. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.